Precinct 26, Caleb Smith. Precinct 54, Bobby Bodenhammer. Precinct 56, Jim Doyle. Precinct 62, Jennifer Bowling. Precinct 72, Gwen Withrow. Precinct 80, Stephen Foster. Precinct 92, Mara Wasser. Precinct 94, Mary Lewis. Precinct 95, Sherry Tavel. Precinct 98, Stephanie Cox. Precinct 101, Stephanie Schwantes. Precinct 103, Thomas Bartley. Precinct 104, Diane Campbell. Precinct 107, Jackie Williams. And Precinct 111, Patrick Teach.
I have a motion I'd like to make.
You're recognized, Ms. Winter.
Thank you. I make a motion to disavow Chairman Chris' public pronouncements regarding the legitimacy of the precinct chairs listed on this agenda, as those precinct chairs were already appointed and confirmed by this body in accordance with the laws of this state and our party bylaws. I further move that this body declares Chairman Chris is derelict in his duties and in violation of the Texas Election Code for not filing these positions that he update the Secretary of the State roster as well as our party resources to include the names of the precinct chairs listed on this agenda item within the next 48 hours.
I second.
I have a motion from Ms. Winter, and you heard it. I have a second from Mr. Pruitt. Any discussion?
I move for a roll call vote.
Ms. Glasshouse has moved for a roll call vote on this matter. So we will do a roll call vote. Secretary? Mr. Pruitt was the second, and then Ms. Glasshouse made a call for a roll call vote on this motion by Ms. Winter. Yes, ma'am.
Can you recap what a yes says and what a no vote means on this roll call vote?
Yes just means you agree with Ms. Winter's motion. She just made to disavow the chairman's public comments regarding this, etc., as written.
All right, here we go. Was there a Ken?
Question. Stacy, would you like me to come up and read the roll?
I think I'm good, Ken. Yes, come on, come and help me. Please, thank you, sir.
Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Precinct 1, Barbara Ray. I vote yes on Precinct 2. Precinct 3, Alex Shandell. Precinct 4, Nelson Reyes.
Yes.
Precinct 5, Doug Taylor.
Yes.
Precinct 6, Kenneth Ernest.
Yes.
Precinct 7, Rapunzel Myers. Precinct 8, Bill Kercheval. Precinct 9, Quentin Smith. Precinct 10, Mark Frank. Precinct 11, Marlise Stripling. Precinct 12, James Metz Jr. Precinct 13, Lori Clifton. Precinct 14, Danielle Walters. Precinct 15, Gary D. Reynolds. Precinct 16, Greg Long. Precinct 17, Dale Fessenden.
Yes.
Precinct 18, Becky Vance. Precinct 19, Juanita Simmons.
Yes.
Precinct 20, Susan Johnson. Precinct 21, Alan Moore. Precinct 22, Anna Greathouse. Precinct 23, Scott Baker. Precinct 24, James Byers. Precinct 25, Wendy Lynch. Precinct 26, Caleb Smith.
Yes.
Precinct 27, Dale Inman.
Yes.
Precinct 28, Ken Walling. Precinct 29, Linda Stuckey. Precinct 30, Matt Mitchell. Precinct 31, Betty Anderson.
Yes.
Precinct 32, Thomas Gardner. Precinct 33, Scott Robbins.
Yes.
Precinct 34, Ken Allen. Precinct 35, Tammy Kelver. Precinct 36, Paul Crossan.
Yes.
Precinct 37, Kristen Plaisance.
Yes.
Precinct 38, Jeff Philbin. Precinct 39, Brady Walding. Precinct 40, Josh Graff.
Yes.
Precinct 41, Wayne Long. Precinct 42, Alan Millard. Precinct 43, Charlotte Bellin. Precinct 44, John Schluter. Precinct 45, Kat Rummel. Precinct 46, Yvonne Wunschie. Precinct 47, Mark Fusca.
Yes.
Precinct 48, Steve Lawrence.
Yes.
Precinct 49, Susan Carranza.
Yes.
Precinct 50, Christina Lightfoot.
Yes.
Precinct 51, Victoria Tompkins. Precinct 52, Wayne Pearson.
Yes.
Precinct 53, Chris Crawford. Precinct 54, Bobby Bodenhammer. Precinct 55, Sandra Mobley. Precinct 56, Jim Doyle.
Yes.
Precinct 57, Terry Saxton. Precinct 58, Lana Haslett. Precinct 59, Allison Winter.
Yes.
Precinct 60, Judy Thomas. Precinct 61, Donna McAleer. Precinct 62, Jennifer Rowling. Precinct 63, Herschel Williams.
Yes.
Precinct 64, Roy Jimenez. Precinct 65, Dale Bible. Precinct 66, Adrian Kaiser. Precinct 67, Catherine Ross. Precinct 68, Teresa Hagg.
Yes.
Precinct 69, John Wirtz.
No. John, yes or no?
Precinct 70, Jack Munich. Precinct 71, Catherine Lucetta.
Yes.
Precinct 72, Gwen Withrow.
Yes.
Precinct 73, Ronnie Trojanowski.
Yes.
Precinct 74, Ginger Russell.
Yes.
Precinct 75, Larry Rogers.
Yes.
Precinct 76, Dennis Tibbs.
Yes.
Precinct 77, Robert Coates. Precinct 78, Keith Wagner. Precinct 79, Thomas Lancaster.
Yes.
Precinct 80, Stephen Foster.
Yes.
Precinct 81, Susan Scruggs.
Yes.
Precinct 82, Walter Sims. Precinct 83, Patricia Carr.
Yes.
Precinct 84, Mark Pruitt.
Yes.
Precinct 85, Tori Bingham.
Yes.
Precinct 85, Glenn Spike. Precinct 87, Robert Walker.
Yes.
Precinct 88, Frederick Sonderman.
Yes.
Precinct 89, Melinda Olinde.
Yes.
Precinct 90, John Webb. Precinct 91, Annette Kerr. Precinct 92, Maura Wasser.
Yes.
Precinct 93, Denise Hebert. Precinct 94, Mary Lewis.
Yes.
Precinct 95, Sherry Tavel.
Yes.
Precinct 96, Raquel Lewis. Precinct 97, Kimberly Weber.
Yes.
Precinct 98, Stephanie Cox.
Yes.
Precinct 99, Suzanne Rapatoni.
Yes.
Precinct 100, George Hyde. Precinct 101, Stephanie Schwantes.
Yes.
Precinct 102, DJ Fike.
Yes.
Precinct 103, Thomas Bartley. Precinct 104, Diane Campbell.
Yes.
Precinct 105, Charlie Parada. Precinct 106, Wesley Doolittle. Precinct 107, Jackie Williams. Precinct 108, Nita Henry.
Here. Yes.
Precinct 109, Mike Medved. Precinct 110, Louis Pedraza.
Here. Yes.
And Precinct 111, Patrick Teach.
Yes.
All right, I just want to go, one more person, I want to make sure, Adrian Kaiser.
He was here.
No. All right, we have, so we started roll call with 57, we have 56 yeses.
That's because
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is number 6. Discuss and take action regarding Chairman Brian Christ's continued public announcements at the Officers Steering Committee, as well as vacancy of Victory Committee chairs elected by the County Executive Committee is listed below, were not properly elected in accordance with the party bylaws. Vice Chairman John Boucher, Secretary Stacy Ernest, Treasurer Charles Shirley, Steering Committee George Hyde, Quentin Smith, Kenneth Ernest, Robert Walker, DJ Fike, Vacancy Committee Allison Winter, Victory Chair John Wertz.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to be recognized for a motion.
Mr. Robbins, you're recognized.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to disavow Chairman Christ's public pronouncements regarding the legitimacy of the officers, steering committee, the vacancy chair, the victory chair, and all other committee chairs as elected by this body. I also move that this body formally declares that all the names listed on the agenda items were properly elected and appointed in accordance with the laws of this state and our party bylaws. I further move that this body declares that Chairman Christ is derelict in his duties and demands that he update all party resources to include the names of the officers, steering committee, vacancy chair, and victory chairs as listed on this agenda item within the next 48 hours.
Do I have a second? Second. Mr. Lawrence is on the record as a second. I have a motion from Mr. Robbins that you've heard. I have a second from Mr. Lawrence. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I will take a vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 7, discuss and take action regarding Chairman Brian Christ continuing to divide the party by calling multiple meetings at the same time and on the same date, but in different locations. Chair recognizes Mr. Walker as you're standing.
I motion that we table this. The Rules Committee is addressing this item.
Okay, we have a motion to table this until the Rules Committee can work on this issue. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Second. All in favor of tabling this? Any discussion, first of all? All in favor of tabling this, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed to tabling it, say nay. Moving forward, number 7 is tabled. Number 8, discuss and take action regarding Chairman Christ's continued public pronouncements that the County Executive Committee meetings are not valid if he simply chooses not to attend and declares them as caucus meetings. Mr. Walker.
I make a motion to disavow Chairman Christ's public pronouncements that the County Executive Committee meetings are not valid if he chooses to simply not attend and declares them as caucus meetings. A motion that this body declares all regularly scheduled CEC meetings as valid, as all of these meetings have been scheduled and noticed properly in accordance with the MCRPTX 2020 to 22 bylaws that are in place, and that the chairman publicly declares that they are valid in 48 hours on the county's website.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. You heard Mr. Walker's motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second from Ms. Russell. Any discussion? Mr. Sunderman, you're
So
recognized.
that was the Montgomery, the CAC website, correct, not the county website?
He specified the mctxgop.org website, Mr. Sunderman. Okay, you've heard the motion by Mr. Walker. We have a second. Any discussion, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 9, discuss and take action regarding Chairman Brian Christ having multiple complaints filed against him with the Secretary of State for multiple violations of election code by not reporting precinct chair vacancies and appointments in a timely manner in accordance with Texas Election Code 171.024E.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Ernest.
yeah, I make a motion that, I move that the body votes to confirm that Chairman Christ has knowingly violated Texas Election Code for not reporting the names of precinct chairs to the Secretary of State in a timely manner, not maintaining or updating the roster with the Secretary of State.
You've heard a second from Mr. Lawrence. Any discussion on this? You've all heard Mr. Ernest's motion. We have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Ernest. Number 10, discuss and take action regarding Chairman Chris having criminal complaints filed against him for 3 separate violations of Texas Penal Code 3710, tampering with a government document for falsely reporting the names of precinct chairs for precincts 26, 92, 10, and 103 to the Secretary of State for the official record. Chairman Chris was notified repeatedly via email and was aware at the time that the people he was reporting to the Secretary of State were not elected in accordance with our bylaws, but he went ahead and registered those people to the Secretary of State to those positions anyway, and has done 5 more, I believe.
Mr. Bushra?
Yes.
I mean, we have some record of those emails in this, put in the minutes.
Yes, sir, we will include the record of the emails that went to the entire CEC directed to Mr. Christ, included in the minutes of this. Thank you for that. So you've heard the motion from, well, that was the,
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
yes, Mr. Ernst.
I move that the body find that Chairman Christ has knowingly violated the Texas Penal Code Section 3710, which is altering government documents by reporting the names of people to the Secretary of State who were not properly elected by this body, and that in 8 separate instances, he reported the people's names for positions that were not vacant.
You've heard the motion from Mr. Ernest. Do I have a second? Second from Mr. Frappier. Thank you, Mr. Frappier, for your second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Sorry, I did a little bit, Mr. Number 11, discuss and take action regarding removal of officers and precinct chairs, as well as rule changes that are under discussion by the steering committee. Mr. Walker?
I would like to table this item to the Rules Committee is taking this up.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to table this until the Rules Committee can review this and take it up. Have a second. Any discussion? Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Just a question, how long will the Rules Committee have this before we get an answer?
Mr. Walker, as chair of the Rules Committee.
Be at the next meeting.
At the next meeting. Thank you. All in favor of Mr. Walker's motion to table this, signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 12, discuss and take action to supplement the SREC report and Secretary of State complaints with these meeting minutes and for consideration during adjudication.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to be recognized for a motion.
Mr. Robbins, you're recognized.
I move that we supplement the SREC RPT Rule 8 complaint, documentation, and the Secretary of State complaint with the meeting minutes and any other documentation from this special meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Robbins. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Nita Henry. Is recognized as a second of record. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 13, discuss and take action regarding regarding county executive committee electing the county chair in 2024, and to have this added to the legislative priority list for the party. Mr. Wertz?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In consideration of what we are experiencing with our county chairman, I move that this body makes having the county chairman elected by the county executive committee a legislative priority, and that we also initiate a rule change within our bylaws to allow the county executive committee to elect the county chair going forward.
You've heard the motion. I have a second. Ms. Ginger Russell, as we get record, although Dale apparently really wanted to be the second. Ginger Russell will be the second. Any discussion? Ms. Winter?
I wanted some clarification. When it says to make it a legislative priority, are you talking about,
Of this part?
oh, our part?
Yes, our legislature.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 14, discuss and take action regarding having the www.mctxgop.org website recognized as the official party website by the Republican Party of Texas, and to have that link on the state party's county party directory page. Mr. Robbins?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I motion that since this body has already voted that www.mctxgop.org is the official website, and this website contains all updated information for the party, I move that we request the Republican Party of Texas to update the Montgomery County link on the state party website and change it to www.mctxgop.org immediately.
Second.
And a second for Mr. Lawrence on that. Any further discussion on the motion by Mr. Robbins? Hearing none. All in favor of Mr. Robbins' motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Number 15, discuss and take action on disciplinary action up to and including censure of Chairman Brian Chris for any or all of the above mentioned violations/issues. Mr. Walker.
A motion that we adopt a resolution to censure Brian Chris, the chairman of the Montgomery County Republican Party of Texas, and give him a moment to speak on his behalf before we present the resolution for a vote.
The motion by Mr. Walker is to move with a resolution to censure Chairman Chris, but in accordance with the rules, Mr. Chris will have a chance to speak to that before that was considered. So, Mr. Chris, do you want to speak to that at all?
Folks, we're still at ease. I mean, if y'all want to talk to me out in the hall, happy to do that. But we're still at ease. When everybody's done with the disruptions, we'll get back to
You've
it.
been dismissed. He's running the meeting. Point of order.
I recognize Mr. Robbins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If Brian Chris speaks, Mr. Chris, you've been replaced as chair of this meeting by unanimous vote. You can stay or you can leave. You cannot disrupt the business of this body.
Amen.
So motion.
Second.
Mr. Rob, well, we already had a motion on the floor, didn't we?
Yes.
So we need to dispense with that motion. Mr. Chris, do you wish to speak to the censure, or do you wish to not speak to it? You have the opportunity according to the rules.
As I stated before, we're at ease, and when folks are done disrupting, we'll get
I'm the
back
chair
to
of this
business.
meeting, as elected unanimously by this body, Mr. Chris. You just let the record show Mr. Chris has declined to speak to the Rule 44 censure that is being discussed. Mr. Walker, you still have the floor.
Okay. Madam Secretary, can you pull up the resolution for censure so that everybody can see it?
can read it for you if you'd like.
Oh, no, I'll read it, I didn't know if she was trying to zoom it in or not.
I was, but I'm having trouble, so go.
Okay.
I've tried.
Whereas the county chairman, Brian Christ, has not fulfilled his statutory duties to report all duly elected precinct chairs to the Secretary of State. Whereas he has failed to recognize duly appointed Keck precinct chairs to the Keck, the party, and report them to the the Secretary of State. Whereas he has failed to chair the regularly scheduled Keck meetings. Whereas he has failed to recognize the duly elected officers and steering committee elected at the 7/23/2022 Keck meeting. He has failed to attend and chair the regularly scheduled steering committee meetings. Therefore, he has not fulfilled his duties as chairman of the Montgomery County Republican Party. Let it be so resolved that County Chairman Brian Christ be censured by the Montgomery County Republican Party County Executive Committee. And let it further be resolved that the censure be forwarded to the SREC to concur and impose both penalties as called for in Rule 44.
You've heard the motion from Mr. Walker with the resolution that he has presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Wertz is on the record as the second. Any discussion on the censure? Yes, Mr.
What exactly would the ramifications of the censure be?
Mr. Walker will explain that as a Rules Committee Chair.
The penalties imposed by the SREC, one is in Rule 44, declare that no rule or bylaw enacted by any division of the party at any level that demands the party be neutral in intra-party contests shall be observed with respect to the named office holder, and no financial or other support shall be provided to their campaign by the party except that which is required by law. If the office holder files an application to run for any public office in the Republican Party primary following the censure resolution's passage, the SREC shall be authorized to spend up to 12% of the party's general fund on voter education in the office holder's district by republishing the original censure resolution verbatim using a media format determined by the SREC. Second penalty that could be imposed is to declare that the named office holder is discouraged from participating in the Republican Party primary following the censure passage. Any above penalty imposed shall expire on the day following the date of the primary runoff in which the office holder would be up for re-election. The term office holder as used in the rules shall mean a holder of public office except a justice of the peace or a judge of a statutory county court, statutory probate court, district court, court of appeals, the criminal courts of criminal appeals, or the Supreme Court of Texas. Nothing within this rule shall be construed to authorize the removal of a public office holder, and likewise, nothing within this rule shall serve to limit the removal of any public office holder under other rule or law. B, any county chairman who applies the provision of section A1 or rejects an application for a place on the ballot under section A2 and thereby becomes subject of a lawsuit for doing so shall be indemnified by the Republican Party of Texas, who shall provide counsel to the county chairman or pay for any expenses incurred related to any suit. The state party chairman shall defend in court any suit against the party arising from the application of rule number 44.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for the resolution censuring Chairman Chris. We have a second. Any further discussion? Mr. Kaiser?
This is going to the SRC?
Yes.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution passes. Chair recognizes Mr. Wertz.
Mr. Chairman, Chairman Crist has indicated on several occasions here that we've been at ease, except basically we invoked Robert's Rule 6210 to remove him from the chair. So he has no authority on that. I think we ought to reiterate from the body how they feel about that.
So are you appealing the ruling that he made that we were at ease?
I am.
So I get a second on the appeal? Okay, any discussion? Yes, sir.
Clarification, I guess.
Mr. Christ is insisting that this body is at ease because he says so.
But if he was removed, wouldn't that necessarily mean anything he's saying is just?
That is correct, but this body should be able to express their opinion on that for the record, Mr. Kaiser. So I have a motion by Mr. Wertz. Who was the second on that?
I'll second.
Nita Henry is the second on it, to appeal the decision of the chair who was claiming that, or Mr. Christ at this point, not the chair, I want that for the record, who is claiming that this body is at ease. All in favor of Mr. Wertz's motion that this body is not at ease?
Point of inquiry,
Yes, sir.
Point of inquiry, if we proceed with this vote, does that not agree implicitly that he is in fact still chairing this meeting?
No, that's why I said Mr. Christ instead of Chairman Christ. I said Mr. Christ is making the announcements.
I want to be clear that Mr.
Yes,
Christ
the vote is to dispute the statement made by Mr. Christ that this body is at ease and none of this business being conducted is valid is basically what he's trying to say for the record. That's the motion. Is that correct, Mr. Wertz?
Correct.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor of Mr. Wertz's motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nothing opposed. Mr. Sunderman.
Pursuant to Agenda 16, I move for an adjournment of this meeting.
You like doing that? Yes. Ms. Russell, are you seconding his motion to adjourn?
No, absolutely not. I can't hear the man.
Mr. Sunderman has made a motion to adjourn,
To adjourn the special meeting?
to adjourn this special meeting.
And we are finished with the agenda.
And we are finished with the agenda, that is correct.
Motion, I think we took a vote earlier that any adjournment requires a standing vote.
Yes, any adjournment requires a standing vote. Do I have a second on the motion to adjourn? Second from Mr. Robbins. So we will take a standing vote. And probably the easiest way to do this is all opposed to adjourn stand. Okay, unanimously we are adjourned. Now we begin the quarterly meeting, and Mr. Chairman.
Okay, folks, are y'all done at this point? Are y'all come back from standing at ease? Are y'all done?
So now we are moving on to the other meeting. Mr. Chris, would you please call the other meeting to order, sir?
So
Regular meeting.
the disruption is obviously still continuing. We'll continue the meeting out in the hallway. If you would, yeah, we stood at ease. It sounded like maybe y'all were done with that. Okay, so we're just going to still stand at ease and
The
we'll
meeting is
resume out in the
adjourned. The
hallway.
meeting is adjourned, Brian. So if you're going to call the regular meeting to order and chair it, that's your prerogative. If you're not, you're welcome to leave, sir. The other meeting is done. It has been adjourned. It has been done. Your statements about the meeting being at ease were overruled unanimously by the body. This is not Venezuela, sir.
So do the people in this room agree they're no longer in the special meeting?
The special meeting has been adjourned.
So everybody here is gone. that's over and done with?
No word games, Mr. Chris. Either you're going to call a regular meeting to order or you're not.
Okay.
And if you're not, then I will call.
We'll still stand at ease then. Or we'll resume out in the hallway.
Now, you can go out in the hall. The rest of us will stay here.
Well, the Robert's rules is that the person who, this meeting was petitioned, so, actually, it's a regular meeting. So if Mr. Chris he's abandoned the chair, he's not going to call the meeting to order. As the vice chair, it falls to me. And so, y'all won't be sleeping here all night. I will call the meeting to order, and we will move forward. This meeting is called to order. Do I have a volunteer for the prayer? This is the Montgomery County Republican Party regular meeting at this point. We're done with, we've already adjourned the special meeting and done our business. So I've called this meeting to order. Any volunteers to say prayer? Tom? Everyone stand, please.
Hey.
Heavenly Father, I just pray for this party and this group. I pray for this. Pray that you lift us in thy righteousness. Bring us together, help us get our work done, and help us do things pleasing to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing for the pledges. American flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Proceed with the roll call. Madam Secretary.
Mr. Kent is helping. Thank you very much.
Say this enough, I'm going to remember the names in order. Precinct 1, Barbara Ray. I'm here, and that's Precinct 2, Kent Fracture. Precinct 3, Alex Jandel. Precinct 4, Nelson Reyes.
Here.
Precinct 5, Doug Taylor.
Here.
6, Kenneth Ernest.
Here.
7, Rapunzel Myers. 8, Bill Kirschball. 9, Quentin Smith. 10, Mark Frank. 11, Marlise Stripling. 12, James Metz Jr. 13, Lori Clifton. 14, Danielle Walters. 15, Gary Reynolds. 16, Greg Long. 17, Dale Fessenden. 18, Becky Vance. 19, Juanita Simmons. 20, Susan Johnson. 21, Alan A. Moore. 22, Anna Greathouse. 23, Scott Baker. 24, James Byers. 25, Wendy Lynch. 26, Caleb Smith.
Here.
27, Dale Inman.
Here.
28, Ken Walling. 29, Linda Stuckey. 30, Matt Mitchell. 31, Betty Anderson.
Here.
32, Thomas Gardner. 33, Scott Robbins.
Here.
34, Ken Allen. 35, Tammy Kelber. 36, Paul Crossan.
Here.
37, Kristen Plaisance.
Here.
38, Jeff Philbin. 39, Brady Walding. 40, Josh Graff. 41, Wayne Long. Josh Graff. Good sign.
Josh Graham, was that a yes? Okay, thank
You're real quiet.
41, Wayne Long. 42, Alan Millard. 43, Charlotte Bellin. 44, John Schluter. 45, Kat Rummel. 46, Yvonne Wunschie. 47, Mark Fusca. 48, Steve Lawrence. 49, Susan Carranza. 50, Christina Lightfoot.
Here.
51, Victoria Tompkins. 52, Wayne Pearson. 53, Chris Crawford. 54, Bobby Bodenhammer. 55, Sandra Mobley. 56, Jim Doyle. 57, Terry Saxton. 58, Lana Heslett. 59, Allison Winter. 60, Judy Thomas. 61, Donna McAleer. 62, Jennifer Bowling. 63, Herschel Williams. 64, Roy Jimenez. 65, Dale Bible. 66, Adrian Kaiser. 67, Catherine Ross. 68, Teresa Hagg. 69, John Wirtz. 70, Jack Munich. 71, Catherine Losetta. 72, Gwen Withrow. 73, Ronnie Trojanowski. 74, Ginger Russell. 75, Larry Rogers. 76, Dennis Tibbs. 77, Robert Coates. 78, Keith Wagner. 79, Thomas Lancaster. 80, Stephen Foster. 81, Susan Scruggs. 82, Walter Sims. 83, Patricia Carr. 84, Mark Pruitt. 85, Terry Bingham. Tory Bingham, I'm sorry. 86, Glenn Spite. 87, Robert Walker. 88, Frederick Sunderman. 89, Melinda Olinde. 90, John Webb. 91, Annette Kerr. 92, Mara Wasser. 93, Denise Saber. 94, Mary Lewis. 95, Sherry Tavel. 96, Raquel Lewis. 97, Kimberly Weber. 98, Stephanie Cox. 99, Susan Rapatoni. 100, George Hyde. 101, Stephanie Schwantes. No, 102, DJ Fike. 103, Thomas Bartley. 104, Diane Campbell. 105, Charlie Parada. 106, Wesley Doolittle. 107, Jackie Williams. 108, Nita Henry. 109, Mike Medved. 110, Louis Pedraza. And 111, Patrick Teach.
Okay, we have 55, we have 57 from last week, so I just. Yeah, we have one. Just wanting to call that out.
We have a quorum, present, 55. Okay, so moving on. Officer reports. Since the chairman is not here, we'll move to the vice chairman report. I don't have a report for today. Secretary?
All right, so the first item on there is the approval for the minutes from December 1st, 2022. That was our last CDC meeting. They are posted out on our website. Can I have a motion to approve those meeting minutes? Yeah, and what did I just say? Oh, okay. I meant November.
A motion by Scott Ramos to approve the meeting minutes from November 1st. I have a second. Second from Mr. Wertz. Any discussion? All in favor of approval of the meeting minutes from November 1st, 2022 CEC meeting, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
All opposed? The record show that it passed unanimously. Ms. Nita Hammer, yes?
Could I have some sort of order? We have people back here eating and talking. I can't here. So could we refrain from, and just do the meeting right now and not do refreshments? I don't know what that's called, maybe.
It's decorum. It's a point of personal privilege, actually. Okay, just let everybody just try and keep it down. That's all I can tell you. Secretary will approve that. So the second item under secretary.
All right, when you all came in this evening, there were a bunch of documents you got in pieces of paper. One of them is the login information for the precinct chairs to the website for the precinct section. So please make note of that. I'll look for the vacancy chair committee, and others to continue to share that information, training committee, etc. But I wanted to give that to Mr.
Thank you. Treasurer's report. Our treasurer, Charles Shirley, is not here, so the assistant treasurer, Mr. Wertz, will be giving the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Hopefully everybody got a report when they checked in tonight. The balance in the assets of accounts is $32,520. And I'd like to recognize those monthly contributors to the 2020-22 program. They continue to give: George Hyde, Jay Wright, Jeannie Walker, Bill Bible, Steve Lawrence, Richard Von Robel, Bud Brasher, Dell Onan, Charles Shirley, Daphne Skelton, and Lisa Rayleigh. If you guys can give them a hand. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Wertz. Can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's report? Mr. Frappier, second.
I make a motion to accept Mr. Wertz's treasurer's report as stated.
Thank you, Mr. Frappier. And I got a second from Mr. Robbins. Any discussion on the treasurer's report? All in favor of approving the treasurer's report as stated, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Treasurer's report is approved unanimously. Yes, sir, Mr. Frappier.
I just received an update for everyone who would like to know. At present in Georgia, Herschel Walker is leading.
Thank you, Mr. Frappier, for that interrupted outburst. Election recap, number 6. The election recap from Mr. Wertz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also in the package was this document here. There's a lot of numbers. I think Stacy's going to try to pull that up. And what I was trying to show in here, basically we are tasked with getting out the vote and electing Republicans. And that is what we intended to do in this election. As everybody well knows, we mailed out 33,000 mailers, which constitute, if you have 1.5 voters in each household, that's about 50,000 voters. And then most of you block walked, most of you in here block walked up to 20,000 push cards that we had through your precincts. And so if you look at the data on whether or not we were successful in that area, if you look at the left-hand side over by the dates, sorry I don't have a laser pointer, but registered voters, the overall percent turnout, you see the president for those election years. If you go down to 1996, you start at 57% and it starts to increase into 67. It drops a little bit in 63 and then back up to 65, 66, 66, and then 73. That's kind of the way to read that. Next next column over, governor, it was really kind of poor turnout in the past. 40 to 33 to 38 to 37, 47, 38, 57, and then 51. I can't really account for the drop from 57 to 51, but we did still maintain a sizable majority. If you go a couple columns over, where you see the breakdown, percent GOP, we're still in the 73, 75 percentile, or 3/4 of the vote are Republican, and 25% are Democrat. And we want to hold that or do better over time. The actual numbers are right next to the percentages. You can see it for the president as well as the gubernatorial races. If you slide over to chart 2, what I tried to do here was compare 2022, this past election, and all the down the ballot races against similar races in 2018. Very similar, but what I did, instead of looking at the vote increase, I looked at the undervotes, and that was the whole idea, is to get people out to vote and have a lower undervote number. And I think we accomplished that down the board. If you look in the middle, ballot races and undervotes started at 614, 1287, 1819. They're all less, all the way down that middle section, they're all less than the far right-hand side as far as undervotes. That means people have gotten out to vote, which is our intention. Now, if you look at the red part on the right-hand side, the 41,064, that's the Jay Wright's election, Appeals Court, District 9. Look at the difference, 41,000 undervotes to 4,169 votes. A lot of people got out to vote on that. Same thing on the Conroe Independent School District races, Lone Star Railwater races, and the township. We can probably attribute that not only to our get out the vote effort, but also the PACs that were involved in that to help make a decision between the different candidates that were in there. Chart 3, you may need a magnifying glass to read that one. These are precincts that are at risk. Basically, it's the GOP vote of governor and how it's broken down, GOP to Democrat, and what the percent GOP is. And then we can see that precinct 10 has been Democrat for a while. But there's other ones there that are listed 84, 47, 4, 101 on down the list that are at risk. They're close to flipping, so we've got to put some more effort into those precincts so that we can keep those red. With that, that's my report, unless you have a question.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence, for your election report.
I do have a question, a serious question.
Chair recognizes Mr. Byers.
Yeah, my question is, and it's a serious question. If you mail to individual residences, I don't think the data is available yet, but when the Election Central publishes who voted individually, wouldn't it be a good return on investment check to see who you reached out and who voted, and compare that to the, I plan to do that. I don't know if you had done that yet or
Good
not.
question. Actually, Mr. Walker's done that. He's going to follow me with that.
Oh, good, thanks.
For the mailers targeted the 1Rs, and there were 35,903 was the actual count of the 1Rs that actually voted in the election. And we sent out, what was it? It was 35,000. was 35,903 one-Rs voted in the election. And how many mailers were sent out for that? 34,161. So, and that was to households. So, and then on the 2Rs, those were block walked and by the precinct chairs, and we had a turnout of 23,004 voters. 23,004 voters. There were 2Rs that showed up. So,
And I might add that probably the only ones that block walked that were about 65%, and I think they're all in here tonight. And the balance, 35% or 40%, did not walk. And it wasn't a complete waste of money because some people came to follow-up meetings to grab those voter guides to pass out.
Thank you.
Thank you. We don't need to approve the report. It's just an election recap. Thank you, Mr. Wirtz. Any more discussion on the recap at all? Any other questions? Mr. Byers, I appreciate your input on that, and we should always look for ways to improve our elections. Next item on the agenda, committee chairman reports. First on the agenda is the marketing committee. Ms. Kim Weber.
They're in your packet as well. It's on the November. There we go. So we have a new logo that I'm hoping you guys all like.
Talk in your microphone, please.
You gotta kiss it. So, we wanted this logo to depict who we are as a party and what our values are. Can you go to the next one? So, since we are the party that the Constitution and upholding, since we are the party of the Constitution upholding those principles, we felt it important to include we the people on and also in God we trust. And we wanted an angrier element, not a serious element. And then, if you want to flip it back. So this would be the logo that would go on the larger items like t-shirts and hats. And then this one would be for stationery and for smaller items. So if we'd like to take a vote on it.
Ms. Weber is proposing that we change out the current logo for the Montgomery County Republican Party that's on your agenda with the logo that the marketing committee is proposing.
Motion to adopt the new logo.
So that's a second to her motion.
Point of information.
Yes.
I have recalled this topic about the elephant, the GOP debating whether our trunk should always be up, and I can't remember exactly what year that was and at what state, which that was, but it's come up quite a bit, and we had all have agreed that
it's not up on the new one, on the old one either, so. Okay, so we have a, well, we are, I guess you're asking to redesign the logo with the trunk up, or?
I was just curious if maybe she would be interested in maybe positioning the truck up.
Okay. We can take a vote on the logo first, and I will restate, Ms. Weber has asked for a vote on approving the new logo, and we have a second from Ms. Plaisance, but Ms. Rapatoni has questioned whether the trunk of the elephant should be pointing upwards. And so we are at a place right now where we are discussing the logo and whether to move forward with this vote or not. So discussion. Yes, Ms. Fight. One at a time, first. Ms. Fight, you. The difference between having a trunk up or down, the direction of the trunk. I don't know what it signifies. I don't know what it signifies. I have heard that before about that. Ms. Plaisance, yes.
Is she saying there's a rule or a law why it has to be up?
It's a private organization. There wouldn't be an elephant trunk law. I think we're fine with that.
No, a Republican Party rule.
I don't think, I haven't heard of that.
No.
I think it might just be traditional.
It was a preference, and we had several debates on it, we just all agreed.
Okay.
For the.
Thank you, Ms. Rapatoni. Mr. Kaiser.
Just a question for Ms. Weber. Why did you decide to go with dark Democrat blue and not Tory blue? Not the light Tory blue?
This could, hey guys, we can really debate all this all night, and ask those kinds of questions, or we can vote on the logo and move on and maybe. Yes, sir, Mr. Doyle.
Trump being up means that you have an elephant ready to charge and attack. Trump down, maybe you.
Okay, thank you. So, okay. So you, okay, Mr. Frappier?
Yes, logo is one thing that I think we should include. I'm not sure who the artist is, but maybe we should give credit where credit's due, put the artist initials on the logo.
Any more discussion on the vote for the logo? I have a motion on the floor to adopt and a second. Any more discussion? Yes, sir, Mr. Robbins.
Point of inquiry, is this gonna cost us any money? Are we
No.
changing everything everywhere, or is it just on the website?
On the website, and, you know, from here on out, we would use the new logo.
Ms. Henry?
I have a point of information. I know that we did some research on the zoning board for the elephants, and we wanted trumpeting elephants. So that means the trunk is up. And so I agree with that, if that's needed.
Okay, any more discussion on the logo? Okay, I have a motion on the floor to adopt the logo, seconded by Ms. Plaisance. All in favor of adopting the new logo, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
No.
Ayes have it. We have a new logo. Okay, next, promotional items. Ms. Weber?
So I would like to continue where we left off at the October meeting with the binders. Okay.
Okay.
So, remember, I did this binder, and it has everything that we need to conduct business with the party.
So this is for onboarding new precincts here, basically.
Yes, to start out, but we would like to provide them for everyone. It's got, the agenda, the bylaws, then we've got Republican Party documents, our legislative priorities, and, our platform, and the rules. And then, so then we have precinct chair resources, and got a map in here. And then government links, and it's got everything you need in one place. And so Jean Boucher, oh, and it's got Robert Ford. And John Boucher reached out to me and had a brilliant idea of putting this binder, on a memory stick.
A thumb drive.
And Herschel has been, come on up, Herschel. So he's been designing that to go along with the binder. So, precinct chair, precinct chair wants to have a digital version where it's, pop in their laptop, or they could download to their laptop, so you won't need internet.
Okay. Hi, we put everything on a thumb drive that we could. And there's a digital version of Robert's Rules, there's all kinds of digital files on there that you can get, maps that you can blow up. There's a lot more we can put on there, but I think what we've got here is the core of that binder on a digital format. You plug it into your computer, copy the file over, folder, and do whatever you want with it. For those of you who want a memory stick, flash drive, or whatever, I've got some here. I'm going to give these to each of the new precinct chairs so that they can get started right with it. They can have a binder and or a stick. And the other people who would like one, or would like the folder itself, you can just give your name to Allison. She has a chart, and we will send you the link to a Dropbox file, which you can upload to your computer. It'll have everything that's on this stick loaded up. It's about 80 megabytes of data, and it's hard to share by email, so you have to go to a link. Yes?
Did you say everything that's in the binder is on there? Did you say most of everything?
Plus some. Plus, it's easier to access all this, but not everybody is real computer strong and they like to carry a ring binder. So if you want a ring binder with your data, tell us and we'll build one. If you want digital, tell us, we'll send it to you.
Is there a way for those who eventually will have one of those that they put some type of security on there in the event it's lost, someone else can't get to that?
There's not a whole lot on here that would be considered secret. They're published laws, rules and bylaws and things like that you will need to work with every day. But if you can't, I think you can put them on tablets. I'm not really good with tablets, but I've heard that you can upload the file and put it on a tablet and work with it that way too. So, but you're out of my territory when you start talking tablets. I do laptops, desktops, and that sort of thing.
And there's a lot, if not all, of that information on the website as well.
Oh, absolutely, and that's one of the hot links that we show, and she shows it on her books of links. At the top, the first place you want to go is our website. Lisa Rayleigh has done an awesome job. Go there at first, by all means, and there's other data on this, okay? So it's there for you to use. If you want a flash drive, you're a new person, you're going to get one. If you want one of these, we can get you one. Just let us know.
That was a lot of work. Thank you, Ken and Herschel. And there's nothing to vote on for this because they already done the work. So thank you guys so much. Anything else?
The flash drive has, the binder does not, is the full Robert's Rules.
Excellent.
So that's huge. And also the TC election code.
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Does that conclude your report?
No, so this is the very first binder, and we wanted to give it to our newest precinct chair, Jim Doyle.
Jim Doyle.
To our newest precinct chair, Jim Doyle.
so much, Mr. Weber. Rules Committee, Mr. Walker.
Okay, Madam Secretary is bringing up the Rules Committee now. And you guys should have a copy back there of it as well. But the Rules Committee met on December 5th, and we reviewed 3 rules changes that were submitted to the Secretary, and the committee unanimously approved the recommendation of all 3 rules changes to be presented to the KEC at the December 6th regularly scheduled meeting, which is tonight, and we will present these 3 changes, and then these rule changes will be taken up for vote at the next regularly scheduled KEC meeting. So, proposed rule change is to Section 2, subsection A, emergency meeting calls. Emergency meetings shall be defined by Texas Government Code 551.045 and may only be called in accordance with Section 2, subsection B of this chapter of the Texas Government Code. Additionally, all emergency meeting calls must comply with Section 2, subsection C of Texas Government Code 551.045, which states, the government body shall clearly identify the emergency or urgent public necessity in the notice or supplemental notice under this section. Section 2, subsection B, online emergency and special meetings will only be permitted in cases where it is clearly identified emergency and the urgent necessity for an online meeting is clearly explained. If an emergency or special meeting is called as an online meeting without meeting these requirements, the meeting call will be considered out of order and the County Executive Committee will discuss and take disciplinary action at the next regularly scheduled County Executive Committee meeting for the improper meeting call. Section 2, subsection C. Special meetings shall be defined by Robert's Rules of Order 9:13-16, page 83 and 84 of Robert's Rules of Order 12th edition. No special meeting may be called 2 weeks prior to the regularly scheduled KEC meeting and must be held in person with the members of the body physically present in the room to cast their votes. The second proposed rule change is, unless in accordance with Article 4, meetings of the bylaws.
Mr. Walker, that's Article 6.
Oh, sorry, Article 6, sorry. Thank you for the correction. Inside section of the rules regarding emergency and special meetings, online voting is strictly prohibited in online meetings, hybrid meetings, which means in-person / online, or in-person meetings of the KEC, the steering committee, and the subcommittee for any reason. The only exception where online voting is permitted is in an emergency meeting called by the steering committee or a vote on a financial matter. Online voting on financial matters during an emergency meeting is only permitted to be conducted with a roll call vote and must be shown in real time within the medium that the online meeting is being conducted. All votes must take place in person and must be shown in real time at the meeting in view of the public. The third proposed rule change is pursuant to the 2020 bylaws, generally Article 14 regarding amendment of bylaws, and specifically Section 1, proposal of amendments. I'd like to recommend to the County Executive Committee to adopt the provision made available to it through Texas Election Code 171.022A, number 1, and RPT Rule 8 and 9, to appoint the county chair by a majority vote unencumbered. This appointment by the CEC shall occur at the organizational meeting of the next biennium in 2024, and each organizational meeting thereafter, as granted by the adopted bylaws of that biennium. Specifically, the election code states, Section 171.022, committee composition. County Executive Committee consists of 1, a county chair who is the presiding officer elected at a general primary election by a majority vote of the qualified voters of the county who vote in the primary on that office or appointed by the County Executive Committee as provided by this subchapter. And 2, a precinct chair from each county election precinct elected at the general primary by the majority vote of the qualified voters of the precinct who vote in the primary on that office, subject to Section 171.0221, or appointed by the county executive committee as provided by this subchapter, except as provided by subsection D. If no candidate receives a majority of the votes, a runoff to determine the office is conducted in the same manner as the runoff primary election to determine a nomination for public office. The candidates to be in a runoff are determined in the same manner as candidates in a runoff for a nomination. C, each committee member serves for a term of 2 years beginning the 20th day after the runoff primary election day. The State Executive Committee, by rule, may provide for the election of county chair or precinct chairs of a particular county by plurality vote. Then it also cites Acts 1985, 69th Legislature, Chapter 211, Section 1, effective January 1st, 1986, amended by Acts 1993, 73rd Legislature, Chapter 728, Section 63, effective September 1st, 1993, Acts 1997, 75th Legislature, Chapter 499, Section 1, effective September 1st, 1997, and Acts 1997, 75th Legislature, Chapter 864, Section 114, effective September 1st, 1997, and Acts 1997, 75th Legislature, Chapter 1349, Section 59, effective September 1st, 1997. Those are the rules changes that were proposed and reviewed, and we recommend those for being voted upon for adoption at the next regularly scheduled CEC meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. So there's no action to take on this. It's just an update on which rules are being proposed for the next rules meeting to perfect them, and you will be voting for those at the next County Executive Committee meeting. Communication, are you through, Mr. Walker?
They will also be sent out via the secretary for everybody's review prior to the next
Thank you.
meeting.
Does that conclude your report?
That's the conclusion of my report.
Mr. Kaiser, you're recommended.
Point of information, I could be wrong, but I thought that he would present them tonight, we would vote to send them back to the Rules Committee, and he would present them again at the next meeting, the finalized version of it.
I don't think that's,
Unless I'm wrong.
Mr. Walker, do you need a vote on these to move forward? To approve your report?
I don't need a vote on to move forward, but if people want to submit something for review, if somebody has issues, we can, I don't have an issue sending it back to the Rules Committee to review something.
The answer to your question is, it doesn't require a vote tonight, Adrian, but the Rules Committee will send them out for your review and your input, and they will be debated and voted on at the next CAC meeting. Clear? Thank you for your report. Next, communication.
We're gonna table what's on the agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, the chair of the Communications Committee is asking to table this for the next meeting, where she'll deliver her report. Next section on the agenda, thank you, Ms. Riley. Next section on the agenda is new business. Ms. Fike.
At our last steering committee, we had a resolution introduced for a meeting schedule for next year, and we need to present that tonight and pass it. Could you bring that up so everybody can see it? Please, Madam Secretary.
Do I have it?
It was in the minutes from the steering committee.
Thanks for the reminder.
In the meantime, we need to have meetings next year, and we have none scheduled. So the resolution reads, and she'll pull it up there. Can you hear me now? Okay. All right, whereas meeting only once per quarter is not sufficient to adequately conduct the business of the CEC in a timely manner.
Here.
Therefore, let it be resolved that the County Executive Committee will establish the following meeting schedule effective January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. Has everybody got their agenda and their pencils out? So you can write these down. It is posted on the website under the steering committee minutes for November. But the suggested meeting times are, we'll meet on the first Tuesday of the months, January, March, April, June, September, October, and December. I will repeat. January, March, April, June, bless you, September, October, and December. Election days are May 6th and November 7th. This schedule will continue through December 2023 unless revised at a future date. Meetings will be held at a time and location to be announced at the time of the meeting call. Let it also be resolved that the steering committee will meet 1 week plus 1 day from the date of each CAC meeting as scheduled. Let it be further resolved that this resolution will expire on December 31st, 2023, and a new resolution setting a meeting schedule will be required for 2024. The reason we skipped those months was because they're kind of a dead time for next year. But with the elections coming, we chose to recommend that we not have a CAC meeting at the first of the month on the election day. So this past year, it was kind of, oh my gosh, we've got a CEC meeting and we're going through elections and we don't have time for that. So there's always the possibility of a special meeting call if needed, but these would be the regularly scheduled meeting times. Yes, sir?
Point of inquiry, DJ?
Mr. Board Director.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Do you realize that the first Tuesday of January is the day after New Year's?
Oh, 2 days after New Year's.
January 2nd. January 2nd is Tuesday.
Everybody's back to work.
Order, please. Order.
Well, that is for you all to decide. It's a resolution. I think the chair will handle that now.
So would you restate your resolution is to have,
The meeting dates that we're suggesting from the steering committee. would be the first Tuesday of each of the following months: January, March, April, June, September, October, and December.
So the motion on the floor is to have the regular meetings scheduled the first Tuesday of the month. January, I'm trying to see this one here. January through December. January, March, April, June, September, October, and December. So just setting the regular schedule on a fixed date of the first Tuesday of every month in those months. Now, someone can amend the motion to move the January meeting if they want. Mr. Kaiser.
I'd like to make an amendment to move the January meeting to the second Tuesday.
I have a amendment to move. Do you accept that amendment? To move to this, for the January meeting, to move to the second Tuesday? So, okay, it's an amendment to your. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Carranza.
Why are we not
Amend
amending?
his amendment to, we skip January, this is December, and have the next meeting on February 1st.
Okay, so I have a amendment to have the first meeting taken out of January and have the actual first meeting of the new year in February 1st. Mr. Kaiser? Mr. Kaiser?
That would be considered a hostile motion to mine because I don't agree with it, first off. And secondly, it also puts three meetings in a row, in three separate months. Or makes it 3 months in a row for having a meeting.
Yes, Mr. Inman.
The February issue is a Wednesday, and there's some people in church on Wednesdays. But also, what's wrong with January 3rd?
Okay. Okay, so let's dispense with Mr. Kaiser's motion first. Any more discussion on, yes, ma'am?
So we came up with the first Tuesday, which happens to be the date several organizations choose. What happened with the second or third Tuesday? Why make the decision of the first Tuesday? Had to pick one?
I would like to comment on that. As someone who's tried to schedule things with multiple people, it's always going to be that way. Somebody's always going to have a complaint about it. So it'll be the first, it's the first Tuesday was proposed. Mr. Kaiser has proposed an amendment. I need to dispense with that first so we can move forward. And so we don't get all tangled up. Yes, sir, Mr. Kaiser.
You actually have to dispense with her. We would vote on her motion first.
She didn't make a motion. She asked a question.
She asked if we could.
Actually, it would be the first Tuesday in February.
But did you make a motion?
I amended yours.
So she did make a motion.
Okay.
We did discuss it first. But I consider it hostile, so that we would actually have to vote on it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the motion that we're talking is an amendment to an amendment. It's hostile, as Mr. Kaiser's pointed out. Ms. Carranza asked to move the meeting to February. Without any discussion on moving the meeting to February? Okay, all in favor of having the first meeting in February, say aye. Okay, I think it's safe that there's one, I think. Opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Mr. Kaiser, any further discussion on Mr. Kaiser's amendment to move the meeting to the second Tuesday of the month in January instead of the first Tuesday? Yes, Ms. Lissette.
I move that we keep it on the 3rd. What better way to start the new year with?
Okay, well, then you can vote that way, but the motion on the floor now is the amendment. Mr. Kaiser, any further discussion on moving it to the second? Yes, Ms. Nita Henry.
I would like to amend Adrian's and say, let's have it on the second Tuesday every month that we meet.
So we would just dispense with my motion first.
Is that
You would just vote it down. You would just vote mine down.
You would just vote it. That's correct. So, okay. Any further discussion on Adrian's amendment? Okay, we're going to vote on Adrian's amendment. All in favor of Adrian's amendment to move the meeting in January to the second Tuesday of the month, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No. Division.
Adrian has called for division of the vote, so we will have a standing vote. If you're in favor, I need a counter. Sergeant at Arms, would you count the votes, please? All in favor of Adrian's motion, move to the second Please don't text me, Dale. To move it to the second Tuesday of the month. I'll stand up. Yes, sir, Mr. Kaiser.
No, I'm raising my hand, I'm standing.
All in favor of moving it to the second Tuesday of the month, stand up. All in favor of moving to the second Tuesday of the month, please stand.
Well,
12. All opposed, please stand. That's an easy call. You don't need to count. The opposition has it. So now we're going to vote on the motion to have it on the first Tuesday of the month on the dates as read off from the dais. Hearing no further discussion. Yes, sir.
We've been doing it for how many years the third Tuesday? 10, 15 years?
You can vote against it. All in favor of having the meeting on the first Tuesday of the month in the month specified as read in her resolution, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Ayes have it, in the opinion of the chair. Communication. That was tabled. New business.
That was for
Right, there's another, where did Mr. Works run off to? New business. Speak.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that no business was conducted or enforced as a result of the meeting that the chairman sent out for December 5th and held last night at the Shout House in Conroe. The chairman claimed that the meeting last night was called by the steering committee, but the steering committee that this party elected and is documented on the official party website at mctxgop.org did not call that meeting. As such, no business was conducted, is enforced, or can be conducted by the chairman's group that he is calling his steering committee.
Thank you, Mr. Wertz. You've heard the motion. I see Mr. Ramos with a second. Any further discussion? Seeing no discussion, hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Is there any other new business? Next item on the agenda is recognition awards. Oh, we have a committee report in the back. Ms. Zeller, did you have a report to give?
It's a good mic.
My apologies, Ms. Zeller.
I just want to give everybody an update as to what the training committee is doing. We have a training coming up in January that was done, wasn't really done by the training and support committee, but it's going to be at the Citizens Advocate Training. You can register on our website, and there's a link that will take you to that website to register for the meeting. It is basically going to show people how to approach their congressmen, their senators, their Texas reps on getting information and being an advocate for whatever they have. So that would be the first. Then DJ and one of our other chairmen are working on election clerk and judge training. This is going to be for Republicans. So we're trying to work with the county, maybe to get some of their stuff, if we could borrow it, and get the training done for our chairmen, people that are judges and clerks. So keep an eye out. That's going to be the end of January, and in February we're going to have several trainings on this. We hope to, so that for those that work nights, those that can't be there on weekends, that sort of stuff. Then the next training that we hope to have is in April. Well, all these are location and dates to be determined except the one in January. So we'll be doing Robert's Rules of Order. It's not gonna be an in-depth class. It's gonna be basically a newbie class or kind of moderate person. You know, if you have some moderate, you have some, training in Robert's Rules, but you want an in-depth training, would wait probably to the second one, because we're gonna, there's a lot to go over in Robert's Rules. That book is real thick. Then we're also gonna be doing an election ethics course, that we'll hope to hold that in June. Constitution and, completing or filing paperwork for primary runoff. Guys, you know that you have to have your, runoff, your, election paperwork into the chairman, but it starts September, the 12th is the first date you can file. So that is your first date to get your paperwork into the county chairman for training. And we'll have a little training over how to fill the paperwork out properly. There was someone who ran for office who left something off, and they weren't allowed to be on the ballot because they didn't complete their paperwork properly. So that's very important. And then we're also, since it is September and that is Constitution Month, we're also going to be having a constitutional training at that time. Yes, ma'am.
On your election clerk and judge training, like January, February, is that going to coordinate any and all with Rick News's clerk and judge training that he does for the county?
This is not for the county. This is strictly for Republican workers and those that want to work the March election and then the November election, should we have one then, which I think there's going to be a constitutional thing in November. So that's strictly who this training is for, so we won't be with the Democrats, and we'll have a bunch of questions and we can answer. But Rick, will Rick have input? Where's DJ? There she is, Victoria. DJ?
Our goal is to supplement the county training, because I've heard different people say it was insufficient or it didn't cover all the topics, and I know if you're there sometimes and a question is asked, the topic gets covered, but maybe in the next class that topic is not covered because nobody asked the question. So we're gonna try to bring, our experience as election chairs and precinct chairs and all that stuff together and build a training class and cover a lot of stuff that the county doesn't do.
And we've been very blessed to have Mary Ann on our team, and she's not here tonight, but she is a professional trainer. So that's what she does for her life. She writes training, she writes programs for training, so like I said, we're very blessed to have her. Who else had a question?
Can you elaborate on the citizen advocate training? Jonathan Houlihan is going to be,
You read the microphone, please?
Yeah, you probably know more about that than I do.
Jonathan Houlihan is going to be conducting the training, the citizen advocate training, and he's going to teach us the proper way to file FOIA requests and teach us how to follow the money. You know, who is funding these candidates and who's contributing to the PACs. So it should be very enlightening.
Thank you, Ms. Weber. Anything else for your report? Thank you, Ms. Zeller. There was also, is Bonnie here for the legislative? Would you like to give your legislative committee report? And I believe we also have a resolutions committee person here and a vacancy committee.
We're coming around the corner.
Hello, I confess to being a little confused at the moment. Do we have two citizen advocate training events? Okay, just want to make sure we're on the same page. All right, very good, thank you. Status report on our legislative alert system that we've been working on. The list of emails of approximately 5,000 Republican voters is ready to use for constant contact. And Lisa Rayleigh has developed a template for use for our alerts. The steering committee is working on developing guidelines for sending emails to voters, and when that's done, we'll be testing the system. It should be pretty soon, I think. We're asked to estimate the number of alerts we expect to have, which our committee discussed. And this is a guess, but the legislative session begins in January and ends in May, and will generate a lot of legislation in a short period of time. So we're estimating 10 alerts per month for the state, and since the Congress goes all year long, we're looking at probably 2 a month for Congress. Once again, that's a guess. Put this one here. Now that we've gotten past the midterms and the Texas legislative session is approaching, it's time to begin setting up meetings with our legislators. Bob Bagley is going to be working on setting up meetings with our state representatives, and Adrian Kaiser will be working on meeting with our senators. And anyone interested in participating, please let us know. The more the merrier. As we do that, we plan to produce articles to submit to Israeli for our website. Plans for the Citizen Advocate Training event sponsored by us, conducted by True Texas Project, are well underway. The event is on Saturday, January 14th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. right here at this location. We currently have about 46 registrants, and we're told we can hold a maximum of 100 people here. We have more than a month to go. So I suggest that anybody that's interested in registering, please do so as soon as possible. If you go to our website, under the event, you should be able to find a link there. The Montgomery County Eagle Forum and faith folks have stepped up to help. And MCEF offered to provide refreshments. And I spoke to that group of people and generated about 10 new registrations right off the bat. So they're very interested in participating in this event. We also received an offer from faith folks that if we get a rush of people and we can't hold them here, they offered us their facility at Grace Church. They expand on that, but we're hoping not to have to do that because we don't want to lose anything. I will need a couple of things to help with that event. I can use a couple of people to help at the registration desk, and Luis offered to handle the overhead, the PowerPoint presentation, so that's covered. But I suspect we're going to need a little signage. It's kind of hard to find this spot if you don't know it's here. You have people coming in that aren't going to know that this is back here, so you might want to come up with something for that. And that's the end.
Thank you, Ms. Lyons.
Mr. Kaiser.
That link I sent you?
I'm sorry?
That link I sent you for all of the updates, can we get that added to the website so people can actually look up legislation themselves and not?
Good idea.
We will do that. It's a good suggestion, Mr. Kaiser. We'll have that done. Okay, thank you, Ms. Lyons. Resolutions Committee. Ms. Nita Henry.
Here you go.
The Resolutions Committee, we have 8 members, and we held 2 meetings to develop the purpose and scope for the guidelines and procedures of submission for the precinct chair as well as the general public. And this has never been done before. So the development, with the help of Lisa, of course, to go on the website is still being constructed and will include the guidelines for submission, for submitted and non-submitted resolutions, how to write a resolution, information required, how to present a resolution, and the goals are to review and refine the process using a reasonable checklist composed of compliant time limits, duplication of pre-existent resolutions, compliance with the MCTX GOP bylaws, RPT platform and rules, void of profanity and personal attacks. Resolutions should include necessary backup documentation if available. And we have a plan committee meeting next week, and we all to finalize the details to present to the steering committee on December the 14th to be put on the agenda for the next scheduled C meeting and then hopefully send to Lisa to go live on the mctxgop.org. I also gave a courtesy for Connor Ernst, who submitted to me his resolutions in July and before the formation of our procedures. The committee voted to withdraw one that was resolved before December the 6th, and the other two resolutions were returned for revisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Winter, Vacancy Committee.
I really don't have anything. I did my short report that y'all received in the packet, except for that Herschel was talking about the drives he has, and if you want one, y'all can let me know tonight and I'll check you out on here. But other than that, just email Herschel. I don't need to be the middleman. Email him if you want to get a link to all the resources. Okay, thank you. He's precinct 63, so you can find him on the website.
Thank you, Ms. Winter. Are there any other committee reports that were, okay, no more. Recognition awards is the next thing on the agenda. Mr. Robbins?
Sorry, I have new business, I realize we've already passed it.
No, we're still in new business. Well, go ahead, Mr. Go ahead, Mr.
Hi, everybody, Scott Robbins, Precinct 33. I didn't pass anything out, and the reason I didn't have new business is it just came across my phone a minute ago. Just to let everybody know, there's an attorney named Paul Davis. He's kind of the go-to attorney when you're going to sue big tech. And I hired him to sue Facebook for me for throwing me off Facebook all the time as a Republican, an elected Republican. And he has suggested to me that I present to everybody in here that you might want to join as a class action. Under Texas AB, it is against the law to throw a Republican off, to throw anybody off Facebook based on your political views, or any big tech. Facebook does it all the time. Out of every 30 days, I'm thrown off 30 days. So anybody who wants to join, just let you know the numbers. It'll cost you roughly $40–50 tops, and you become a petitioner. And the suit becomes class action. He has sued Facebook many times. He has not lost on this exact same action. When he prevails, you get your money back, plus damages, and an injunction that prevents Facebook from ever shadow banning you, throwing you off, 30-day jailing, all that stuff they do. If you want to join, let me know. I'll put you in contact with them. If you don't, I'm going in on my own, or whoever wants to go. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Robbins.
Extended to next door, sits there on
Please, this is, thank you, Mr. Robbins. Recognition awards is next on the agenda. Were there recognition awards for tonight? Seeing none, we will move on. The last item on the agenda is 9, adjourn and completion of agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Okay, remember, all motions to adjourn. Who seconded that, by the way? Pruitt seconded. All motions to adjourn are a standing vote. Correct. Adrian Kaiser. So, well, no, I'm gonna do it the other way. Is there anybody opposed to adjourning? Stand. We are adjourned. Have a good night.
Ryan? You gotta believe it, you can Google it. I tell you what, number one is not what I expected. Oh my God. On left hundred. This is like. Yeah, there's those two.
I'll be right back.
It's the way it was written.
Hey folks, I'm just reminding you, you're walking out and we're still at ease, so please don't leave. We'll resume from ease soon.
Mr. Christ, to remind you, you have declared this meeting at ease several times. You do not have the authority to do that simply because Robert's Rules 824 says that a meeting is to stand at ease as a chair without objection, simply permits a brief pause without a declaration of recess. There were many objections, all of them were recorded. You do not have the authority under Robert's Rules to declare the meeting at ease or to declare it no longer at ease.
So the meeting is adjourned.
The meeting is adjourned.
Mr. Chris, you're gonna need to get all of your stuff packed up because the meeting's over. Well, no, I am responsible for this meeting place, and if I need to call security in and have you guys. Hey, I have to rearrange this room in order to leave it. No.
Gordy Bunch gave me permission to be.
No, he did not. No, he did not.
Okay, have a good night. We're not gonna, Robert, everybody just leave. Let them have their little whatever, and we'll hang out and fix up.
Okay. You want to call to order? Not yet. Still loud. It doesn't matter. Because as all we'll do is, one order chairman, there's a lack of quorum. I'll just make one order. Chairman, there appears to be a lack of quorum.
What you say right now, so then do it right here to him and.
Great job tonight, great job.
Oh, you're actually backing.
Okay folks, we're coming back from at ease. Folks, we're coming back from at ease.
It's a joke. It is a joke. Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir, Mr. Byers.
There appears to be a lack of quorum to continue.
This is Secretary.
We'd have to do a roll call.
We'd have to do a roll call. Mr. Frank, will you do a roll call, please?
Precinct 1, Barbara Ray. Precinct 2, Ken Frappier. Precinct 3, Alex Shandell. Precinct 4, Nelson Reyes. Precinct 5, Doug Taylor. Precinct 6, Kenneth Ernest. Precinct 7, Puzzle Mayers. Precinct 8, Bill Percival. Precinct 9, Quentin Smith. Precinct 10, Mark Frank. Precinct 11, Marlisa Stripling. Precinct 12, James Metz Jr. Precinct 13, Lori Clifton. Precinct 14, Miguel Walters. Precinct 15, Gary Reynolds. Precinct 16, Brad Long. Precinct 17, Dale Fessenden. Precinct 18, Becky Vance. Precinct 19, Juanita Simmons. Precinct 20, Susan Johnson. Precinct 21, Alan Moore. Precinct 22, Anna Greathouse. Precinct 23, Scott Baker. Precinct 24, James Byers. Precinct 25, Wendy Lynch. Precinct 26, John Thomas. Precinct 27, Dale Emmett. Precinct 28, Ken Wallen. Precinct 29, Linda Stuckey. And Precinct 30, Matt Mitchell. Precinct 31, Betty Anderson. Precinct 32, Thomas Gardner. Precinct 33, Scott Robbins. Precinct 34, Ken Allen. Precinct 35, Tammy Gelfer. Oh, thing actually. Go. Precinct 36, Paul Cross. Precinct 37, Kristen Public Place Officer. Precinct 38, Jeff Philbin. Precinct 39, Jeffrey Walden. Precinct 40, Josh Graff. Precinct 41, Dwayne Long. Precinct 42, Jamie Nash. Precinct 43, Charlotte Bean. Precinct 44, John Schluter. Precinct 45, Kat Brummel. Precinct 46, Lana Winchie. Precinct 47, Mark Fusco. Precinct 48, Steve Lawrence. Precinct 49, Susan Carranza. Precinct 50, Christina Lightfoot. Precinct 51, Victoria Tompkins. Precinct 52, Wayne Pearson. Precinct 53, Chris Crawford. Precinct 55, Sandra Logan. Precinct 56, Kenneth Lincoln. Precinct 57, Terry Saxton. Precinct 58, Lana Haslett. Precinct 59, Allison Winter. Precinct 60, Judy Thomas. Precinct 61, Donna McAleer. Precinct 62, Stephen Wright. Precinct 63, Virgil Williams. Precinct 64, Roy Jimenez. Precinct 65, Dale Bible.
Security's on their way to.
Precinct 66,
Good luck
Adrian
with that.
Pager.
Oh,
I
don't worry.
What I was doing?
We'll call the sheriff's department.
Precinct
if we have to.
67,
That'd be fine.
Catherine Ross.
Hey, Phil,
Precinct
no,
68,
you're not.
Teresa
Feel free.
Hay.
Feel free.
Precinct 69, John Wirtz. Precinct 70, John Malcolm. Munich. Jack Munich, Hillback. 71, Catherine Lasetta. 72, Ann Kate. 73, Ronnie Jokanowski. 74, Ginger Russell. 75, Larry Rogers. 76,